day 15 of my 3D tutorials. If you join me part way of this tutorial series, you can go to my website www.andrewbooth3d.com. Halfway down is the tutorials. Like I say at the beginning of every tutorial, you can also refer to my tutorial page. In there contains all my tutorials. If you want to contact me for advice, or if you want me to look at an asset and help you to improve it, you can email me at a.booth3d@outlook.com. If you require a 3D artist for a job, for example, freelance, or for your independent studio, or even if you're part of a AAA studio, you can always email me. I'm happy to help. Alternatively, you can follow me on Twitter at AndrewBooth3D. This is my Twitter page, so please do follow me. Today we'll be discussing a little bit further into masks and how to create masks in Photoshop. Last time we went through the basics on how to use masks for like material blending, like how I'm blending it with the gold material with the wood material. As you can see here, I created a basic mask. Now I'm going to do the exactly same thing but in Photoshop. It works slightly different. This is for more complex, more intricate kind of designs, like text and other specialized masks that you like to create. Perhaps you like to hand paint yours, whatever, So what we'll do, we'll open Photoshop and let it load. Now the technique I'm now going to show to you is what we call grey packing. It's a new industry-based technique. You see, once Photoshop is open, you open a new document and you size it to the actual pixels. So it's 1024, 1024. Make the resolution 300 and have it as 8-bit. And I'll call this decal, because that's what it is. Decal salt. Now we open up, it'll open this square resolution, this square workspace. Now immediately, what people think to do when creating a decal or create textures, they work in the actual layers. Don't do this, not for masking. Go into the actual channels and you work in the red, green and blue. You see, the philosophy behind this is masks are black and white images. Now, when these channels are only black and white, which means we can get away of using these individual channels as black and white masks, which is what Substance Designer uses. So in a sense, we can now get 3 different images on each one of these channels based on the detailing or what we want it to. So for the first channel, the red channel, we're gonna create a nice decal text, because it's going to be a fancy writing. I'm going to choose a very fancy text. So once you find a nice decent text like this, click on this square on the working space and type in your typology. For me, it's going to be Andrews and restaurant. See, I'm not very good at spelling, so what I tend to do, I tend to open Google, search for what I typed, and I'll bring it up. Go back into Photoshop and paste it, Andrews Restaurant. It makes sense to do that because because I'm working on a restaurant scene, so the salt's going to be part of that. So it makes sense to call it Andrews Restaurant. Now I'm going to do two different sizes. This is going to be 25. That's too small. This is where the problem in working the channels. It doesn't work as a histogram like normal layers. When you type in, you cannot re-edit that text. As soon as you click off it, it becomes an image. So you have to get it right in one shot. Like so. 25 is too big, so make it 20 and move it. There you are. That's perfect. But in the same token, I don't know how how Substance Designer and the transform node will cope with that resolution. So I'll make a slightly smaller one. A slightly smaller one. Let's make it 10. Again, I don't know how Substance Designer would see how it would use that with the pixel density, you know. So I don't know if that's going to be too pixelated, if that's going to be too big. That's why it's always good to do, when it comes to text, two different sizes. Sometimes you may have to do even 3. Now I don't even know if this is a good typology, you know, a good, text, font for the actual Substance Designer. So I'm going to do another one, but one that is slightly more thicker. Something on the lines of this. It's fancy. Not only is it fancy, but it's slightly more thicker. Which means if the pixel density isn't correct for these other two, you've got one thicker that may look decent. Now on here, we're going to have something else. This is going to be like detailing for underneath. See, underneath the pepper grinder or salt grinder, we have different shapes. Under the salt, you have one thick and one large circle. Where in pepper, because it's a little bit more finer, you have 5, 6 different holes at the bottom. So this needs to reflect that. So you pick the ellipse tool black, holding down the shift, and you pull it out, and it creates a circle. But I don't know if that's too thick, too small, or too big, so do it once more, but slightly bigger. And then this is where a little technicality comes into it. You do one small, this is for the pepper side of it. Copy, then paste. Ooh, bless me, I do apologise. As I said yesterday, I'm catching a little bit of a snivel, so I do apologise if I burst your eardrums in your headphones or something. So you just copy and paste in each one, those two. And then it's just a case of rearranging these and aligning them to create this shape. Bear in mind, you only need to do half. You might ask yourself, why are we only doing half? Well, if you think about it, all you need to do is half and then copy and paste it and flipping it. By doing that, you, in a sense, only doing half of the work. This may take some time, and it may be a little tedious to do. But once it's done, you don't have to fret. Like so. And then transform selection, flip it 100 degrees. Copy, paste. And there you are. Now, obviously, I don't know if that's big enough. So copy it, paste, and then increase the size. And there you are. You have the salt and the pepper. It's always good to do two or three different sizes of each decal, because like I said, we don't know if it's going to be too pixelated, too big, too small, and it's always good to have a selection saved out. Now I have one empty space here. This is where I think I'll have the actual nut and bolt. To do this, what I'll do, I'll select the rectangle, actually the rounded rectangle tool, one there, copy, paste, like so, magic wand to select it, move it like so, and then rotate 90 degrees. Now you may get, you see, I'm not sure if that's the cross is too small, so I'm going to do a different kind of cross this time. This time a little bit more longer one, in there, like so. And then select copy, rotate it 90 degrees, and there you are. Copy, paste, move aside, and increase it. Like so. And do the same for both of them. And move them. And then just rub out that outline when you move them, like so. That's for the nut and bolt. I'm also going to do typology on this layer too. You can do whatever decals you need. For me, I'm going to have a nice standard looking topology. Salt. And then pepper. Salt, pepper. Now when you look at the image as a whole, it looks like this. It looks a bit chaotic, you have different colours and it looks quite messy. But do not fret. This is actually really good because it's not only it saves a lot of texture memory because we're using a bitmap to use for decals. This is also very efficient because we now got 3 different texture packs in one image. So in a sense, you're saving 3 times the amount of memory by importing one image that can be split out between the channels, which is easily done in Substance Designer. So from there, it's time to save out. So save as. Since we're already in our images pack and it's already got a title, save it as a PNG. Now you're probably thinking, why are we saving it as a PNG, not as a Photoshop file? Well, we don't need a Photoshop file. You see, the background is just one image. So it doesn't have any more layers. All the data is contained in the channels, which means even as a PNG, we can then go back into those channels and edit that data if it's necessary. So those channels has become our new layer system in a sense. So it's more efficient. Not only that, but again, because we got 3 different images in the same pack, we save a lot more memory. So instead of having 3 separate images files for these different decals, we got 3. We just have the one. So it's all to do with efficiency and saving in memory, and so on and so forth. Now, since we saved it, all we need to do is then go into our bitmaps and link in our bitmap. Normally I would do import as well, just in case, but sometimes that adds in memory because you're actually inputting a copy of the image into the file, and sometimes that's not decent to do that. It may increase the actual file memory. So locate the file and import it. Once it's imported, import it into the graph. And as you've done that, it imports as a color image, bitmap. Now, don't fret about it being black and white, because it needs to be black and white. Because as soon as you turn it to grayscale, you're basically just turning the image grayscale. It's not using the actual channels. So all that data is lost. So it must be color. In the search bar, type in red, green and blue split. This one here it is. Red, green, blue, A split. Basically, what this does, it takes a color image and split the individual color channels into its respective channels, like so. Now today, I'll only show you how to pull this image out. Tomorrow's tutorial, I will show you how to use these images as height and normal map. It's quite easy to do, but just for today I'll be showing you how to take out the red channel information. So now we got this channel here, this image. What I do now, I use a blend it in the background. Now you're probably thinking, why using blend? Well, if you think about it, at this present time, what we got here, oh sorry, I select the wrong channel, there you are. What we have here, and in a sense, is we have an image file with loads of different texts and decals. So we need to tell the machine in the Substance Designer, the software, what to take from that image, what to select from it. That's quite simple to do, really. First of all, you take the white texture here, add a transform, and we are in a sense doing the same thing what we've been doing here. So we can take the levels node here, attach it to there, and attach the right node here, which in turn would turn these two into black and white. Alter the resolution, so it'd be 1024, and then using this, we can then double click this so it'd be the main select, single select this, and then just move this bracket up. This will now cut out all this, so all this will be white and the rest be black. Obviously the reason it's completely white at the moment is because we got the tile mode on relative to parent. To turn it to absolute and no tile, and it creates this white square. And as before, we have a levels node with a full levels node making it blocky. You'll have that as output, opacity. And as you can see, we've done it the wrong direction, which is easy done because all you need to do is drag it. So all we will need to do, because it's white, all we need to do is turn this to add, no, multiply, overlay, there's one, the two. Sometimes if you get the wrong direction, which is easy done, go to invert. There you go. It's because the reason being that happened, it's because this is the wrong direction. So you just need to flip it. So invert. There you are. So let me run it through for you. What we're doing, we're taking the channel split, we're splitting the colored channels. We're taking the A channel, which has my typology, I can't even pronounce it, my writing. And then we're saying to Substance Designer, okay, take the existing bit, white color, uniform color here, transform it, so only select a certain thing, increase the levels, contrast so it's blocky, invert it, using that data to cut out these two topology, to leave the big topology behind. Typology. If I remember right, topology is the actual outlining of the model, where typology is the actual writing. Just to be clear of terminology. But of course, this is the wrong size, because we want it to be written here. So it's the wrong size, because it's too big. This is where another transform node is needed. Turn the matte color white, then use this as a ground starting point. This, in a sense, is now your working space. So this is the top bit, so this will be the middle bit. This bit will be here. Using the brackets to decrease the size to match that size. Like so. And you'll notice we've got tiling on. So always turn off your tiling. Sometimes it's always handy to have it on, sometimes it's not. In this instance it's not. Then we use it to blend together these files. Now as you can see, you can't notice it. That's because it's on copy. You have to use it on multiply, like so, and then feed it through the mask. Now, as you can see, the line's too big, so again we've got to reduce it. So it will fit nice and snug into there. Now we can have it there. This is the beauty of the transform, because now we can then decide, okay, do I want there or this bit here? I think it may be useful to put it on here because it's more working space. So now we worked out it's there. What if we put it here? They are. That looks more nicer actually on there. So now we can then increase the size of the topology. And we can put the salt like here or here. So put one here. Copy, paste. And with another blend node, have two different we can have two different locations, so basically copying it over. And multiply. As you see, we got it down to different. And like we did here, we're now going to turn this into the normal map. So type in normal, feed this in here, and then normal, combining you with you, feeding it back in, turn it to high quality, and then lower the intensity because we don't need it to be too indent. That's to engrave it, but we could also then invert it so the normal invert, make it stand out, and they are. We have a nice decal added to the texture. And then from this, we can then drive the ambient occlusion lower the spreading, lower the darkness, and then blend it with my ambient occlusion here, like so. And there you are, a nice fancy typology in the text. And I think I will leave this tutorial here, because we just went through a lot. As you can see, this graph is getting a little hectic. So next time I'll go through the rest of the channels showing you how to do that. Then I will look into the tutorial after that and look into more depth in using the filters. And then the tutorial after that will be showing you, I'll be showing you how I improve the efficiency of this graph, because this is messy and it's hard to read. Again, like I always say, save your work so you don't lose it. Anyway, thank you for watching today. I hope you learned a lot, and join me again another time. Thank you for watching.